6 minutes. That is exactly how long Officer Martinez had before the garbage truck arrived at the Willowbrook Apartments in Raleigh, North Carolina. 6 minutes before 5.5 pounds of pure MDMA vanished forever, taking the most significant lead in a multi-million-dollar investigation with it. The January wind cut through his jacket as he sprinted across the parking lot. The surveillance team had been watching a woman named Amanda Troll for 8 months. But tonight, Martinez was flying solo on a hunch. He tears open the first yellow bag. Kitchen scraps and cat litter. The second bag felt different. Heavier. With a sharp chemical smell that hit him immediately. Inside, crystalline powder caught the beam of his flashlight. Pure MDMA, with a street value over $200,000. This was not just a drug bust. This was the thread that would unravel the most sophisticated mail-order drug empire the internet had ever seen. An empire run by a ghost calling himself Lon is here. A man who stayed invisible for 3 years while thousands of packages flowed across borders. This cybercrime documentary reveals how millions in cryptocurrency and perfect anonymity fell apart because of one bag of trash. But this story actually starts 2 years earlier in a Staten Island gym, with a construction worker who thought he was just buying steroids. Anthony Coronat lived a cycle that never changed. A 5 a.m. wake-up call and a construction site in Brooklyn by 7. He hit the gym on Richmond Avenue by 6 p.m., followed by a protein shake and home by 9. At 28 years old, he had lived this routine for 6 years. The only variation was his quarterly trips to a warehouse in Queens for steroid pickups. When his supplier disappeared, panic set in. Without testosterone and growth hormone, months of body sculpting for an upcoming competition would vanish. His workout partner at Powerhouse Gym mentioned a dark alternative: the dark web, describing it as an Amazon for stuff you cannot get in stores. He told Anthony to download the Tor browser and get Bitcoin from a specific ATM on Northern Boulevard. The Bitcoin ATM stood in a cramped bodega between a check cashing place and a cell phone repair shop. Anthony felt like a criminal feeding $20 bills into the machine, downloading anonymity software, and creating accounts with fake names on professional-looking drug sites. When his package finally arrived at the Stapleton post office, something felt wrong. The box was heavier than expected and rattled when shaken. Anthony's construction background taught him to trust his instincts about things that did not fit. He took the bus instead of walking home, paid cash instead of using a Metro card, and doubled back through projects to lose any tail. He cut through parking lots behind the medical center and used a service entrance instead of the main lobby. Inside his apartment, the package sat on his kitchen table like a ticking bomb. When he finally sliced it open, his hands were shaking. Instead of testosterone vials, he found dozens of amber bottles filled with colorful pills, stamped with Dolphin and Tesla logos. This was $40,000 worth of ecstasy sitting on his table. And then his phone buzzed. It was an email from Lon is here, claiming a package mix-up and offering him $500 to forward it to a new address. To Anthony, $500 was 2 weeks of pay. The sender seemed professional, like a simple business error. But it was actually a deliberate recruitment tactic. Lon targeted steroid buyers because they were already comfortable breaking small laws. Within 6 months, Anthony was forwarding packages monthly, each containing thousands in drugs, pulling him deeper into a brilliant but dangerous system. Traditional drug dealing is vulnerable because catching a customer usually leads to the dealer. Lon's system worked like a legitimate supply chain, creating buffers. High-quality MDMA was sourced in the UK and sent in bulk to reshippers in America like Anthony. These reshippers then forwarded individual orders to other states for final delivery. This meant that if police caught a customer, the package only traced back to a reshipper, not the source in the UK. The reshippers looked like the dealers, and they were the ones who took the fall while the scale grew massive. Over 10,000 packages moved in 3 years, reaching colleges and medical professionals across the U.S., Canada, and Ireland. Lon recruited ordinary people like Amanda Troll, who lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Raleigh. Amanda worked at a medical billing office and had never been arrested. She was exactly what Lon needed. Methodical, invisible to law enforcement, and desperate enough financially to take a risk for steady money. Amanda found Lon through a research chemical forum while looking for focus-enhancing supplements. When her regular supplier disappeared, someone recommended Lon's professional operation for its great stealth and reliable shipping. Her first order of 50 tabs arrived exactly as described. Vacuum-sealed and professional. Inside was a note explaining a supposed international shipping arbitrage opportunity. Offering her $500 a month to be a local forwarder, it felt legitimate and solved her money problems. And within 6 months, Amanda became the most productive agent on the East Coast. She processed over 4,000 packages with obsessive attention to operational security. She developed a rotation system, never using the same post office twice in a week, and never mailing more than 5 packages from one spot. She paid cash for everything and cycled through different clothing to avoid security camera recognition. The DEA had been watching her for 8 months, documenting her visits to 37 different post offices. They knew she was receiving bulk packages and sending individual ones, but they could never catch her with the illegal contents. Amanda treated the operation like a legitimate small business, with spreadsheets and customer service protocols. However, drug residue always accumulates, and every open package left traces that eventually became a major problem. On January 15th, a bulk shipment arrived messy, with MDMA powder spilled everywhere. She cleaned what she could see, but crystals fell into the carpet and under the furniture. And when she emptied her vacuum, that residue went into the trash. This brings us back to Officer Martinez and the garbage bag, where he found 2.5 kilograms of MDMA powder. The following evening, Amanda was getting ready for her mother's 67th birthday dinner. A long-standing family tradition, her mother called from the restaurant parking lot to say the table was ready. Amanda told her to go ahead and sit down, but she never made it. As her mother settled into a corner booth, federal agents were surrounding Amanda's apartment. At 6 p.m., while birthday candles were being lit at the restaurant, a tactical team used a battering ram on Amanda's front door. They found 130 pounds of MDMA, 31 pounds of ketamine, and her detailed business records. Amanda told agents she was just moving supplements. But then she provided the information that would crack the entire case. She gave them the Staten Island connection and her email communications with the mastermind known as Lon. While her mother sat alone with a birthday cake, the DEA set a trap using a 10-pound bait package of MDMA. On February 23rd, Anthony Coronat approached the target location in Staten Island and was arrested with the package in his hand. Anthony immediately pointed to a Gmail account used by the ghost. Gmail accounts require recovery information, and the metadata from this account pointed directly to Coventry, England. The Invisible Empire finally had a physical location. At the National Crime Agency in London, Agent Lisa Walsh began staring at intelligence that would reshape dark web investigations. The DEA had sent tracking numbers and Bitcoin addresses that suggested a single operator was running the network. Walsh had seen small-scale dealers before, but this was industrial-scale distribution with corporate-level logistics. It took 6 weeks of surveillance to spot a man in his early 30s, always well-dressed, visiting different post offices daily. He was alone, paying cash, and using fabricated return addresses. This was Banmeet Singh, a man who believed the internet was the one place no one could reach him. On paper, he was just an unemployed resident of a modest flat. Analysis matched his Coventry shipments with the records found in Amanda's apartment. In April 2019, 6 vehicles converged on his complex. The timing was critical because they knew he usually slept until 7 a.m. The door exploded inward at 4 a.m., and Banmeet lunged for his keyboard to trigger a kill switch. He was tackled just 18 inches from the keys. They seized 4 laptops, 6 smartphones, and hardware wallets that were completely unlocked. The cryptocurrency discovery was staggering. Over £15 million in Bitcoin at 2019 prices. Transaction logs showed even more revenue, leading investigators to his brother, Parvinder Singh, who was managing the finances from India. The brothers were partners, with Parvinder converting Bitcoin into real estate, gold, and foreign accounts to create a safety net. After coordinated raids in India, both brothers received substantial prison sentences. Banmeet was extradited and got 15 years, while his brother got 12. Even the reshippers like Anthony and Amanda faced years behind bars. It all fell apart because of one Gmail account, one trash bag, and the human need for connection. Banmeet built a system that moved $50 million across continents for 3 years without detection. He had perfect digital security, but he forgot that technology cannot hide human psychology. This case changed how the world investigates dark web trafficking, making international cooperation a standard. It proved that in the age of digital anonymity, the weakest points are not the algorithms, but the humans behind them. I am the Digital Sleuth. If you want to see more deep dives into the shadows of the internet, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Stay safe. Stay skeptical. And remember, every ghost leaves a footprint.